Hello guys, it's Marco again. In this video I'm going to teach you guys how to play Outlaw Rogue and when to go Outlaw Rogue, because there's a difference between Assassination and Outlaw. Assassination doesn't require good legendaries to do good DPS, while Outlaw on the other hand is quite tricky because you need to have a really good legendary and you need luck to get it. And that legendary is the bracers, legendary bracers, the green skin waist cuffs, I don't know what's the name. And you should aim for a second legendary insignia of Ravenhold. With those legendaries, Outlaw DPS goes from like 300k on solo target to 450k on solo target. So it's a pretty big deal. There is one more good thing with those bracers, and it's that Outlaw can finally scale. Main stat for Outlaw without bracers is versatility, and that's pretty bad. And with bracers, the new best stat becomes critical strike, and critical strike has the same value as agility then, and that's pretty huge. And you should want to have as much critical strike chance as you can, so like 10,000 rating should be fine, and you should have as much versatility, like 20% less versatility, and you should have 0 haste and 0 mastery. But I just got the bracers recently, so my stats and itemization isn't that good, so I'm working my way to get as much critical versatility items as I can to reduce the amount of mastery I have on my items at the moment. And again, you should not play Outlaw until you get 2 legendaries on Assassination, then just change your loot specialization to Outlaw, so there is a chance to get your bracers, but that chance isn't big, so that's a really big problem. And now for trinkets, you should get 2 RNG trinkets with agility, or a stat trinket with critical strike or versatility. And best trinket at the moment for Outlaw Rogue is a high item leveled Chaos trinket, and it's a bit tricky to get it because Assault on Violet Hold only has mythic normal difficulty. Funny thing is that Outlaw itemization has as much RNG as Outlaw playstyle and rotation. So I don't know if this was a goal from Blizzard, but I doubt it. Well, enough about that. Now the relics. The relics, you want 3 points into Fatebringer, because Fatebringer reduces the cost energy of your finishing moves like Between the Eyes, Run Through and Roll the Bones. But Fater's is also good. It's not really much behind on Fatebringer, because still Run Through is your most damaging ability, even though it went from 45% of your damage to like 20 few percent of your damage. Now talents. You should run your normal Outlaw talents, but with one exception. The first row. You should run Quick Draw instead of Ghostly Strike. The reason is that your legendary bracers increase the damage of your free pistol shot, so it stacks. And for potions, you should always use Potion of Old War, and if you don't have money like me, you should use Potion of Prolonged Power on some progression bosses, but Old War again gives a lot more damage than Prolonged Power. Now finally the rotation. The rotation with the new legendary is bit different and more versatile than the normal Outlaw rotation, which is pretty good because normal Outlaw rotation was pretty dull. So your main goal is to cast Between the Eyes on cooldown and when you have 5 combo points to enhance your next pistol shot, or preferably blunderbuss to do 400% more damage. So this is a tricky part of your rotation, because you actually need to save your blunderbuss if your Between the Eyes is on 5 or 6 seconds cooldown. If it's on bigger cooldown, use the blunderbuss. You'll get a new pistol shot, maybe a new blunderbuss. And again, if you have a buff from your Between the Eyes kill and you have a pistol shot, you can try to fish up for a blunderbuss, but you can sometimes get lucky and sometimes you'll lose a lot. So it all depends on you and how do you believe in RNG God. Lastly, roll the bones. You should aim for 2 buffs and keep re-rolling until you get 2 buffs or you get true bearing, so that's the cooldown reduction, and it's pretty OP with the legendary. For the opener, you want mark for that 10 seconds before the fight. Use the roll the bones 1 second before the beginning of the fight and pre-pot. You want to start off with ambush, into saber slash, into blunderbuss or pistol shot, then between the eyes, then you should get 1 more run through, and then use your cooldowns at adrenaline rush and artifact. Then just spam saber slash into run through, saber slash into run through as much as you can, and then at the end of your burst time you're going to have 6 combo points and your between the eyes will come off cooldown and you're going to use it, and you're probably going to have free pistol shot or blunderbuss, and you should use it for the maximum DPS. Now for Outlaw Rogue, your opener is always going to be different depending on RNG you got, so it depends on your roll the bones if you get the true bearing, and it depends on your first saber slash if you're going to get your blunderbuss or pistol shot. If you don't get blunderbuss at the first opener, you just press pistol shot to get 6 ammo points and use between the eyes, and then hope for blunderbuss. But if you get the bad rolls, your first priority is to refresh your rolls to get 2 rolls or true bearing. That's the most important thing. And if you get true bearing, your between the eyes cooldown is going to be so low that you have to use your free pistol shot whenever you get it, because if you don't use it, your between the eyes is just going to be off cooldown and you're not going to use it because you're just going to overlap your buff, and it's a complete waste. After the opener, you should use your cooldowns whenever they are up, because it's hardly that they're going to sync up together, just because of the true bearing RNG and that the fact that Curse of the Dreadblades has much lower cooldown than Adrenaline Rush. So just if you're going to use your Curse of the Dreadblades without your Adrenaline Rush, be ready and have 0 combo points or 1 combo point and 100 energy before you use it, because you're going to need as much energy so you can pull as much damage as you can. And there is one situational cooldown, and that's Vanish. You want to use your Vanish when you have your between the eyes Gunslinger buff almost expiring, because if you vanish into ambush, it guarantees your next saber slash to be a pistol shot or a blunderbuss. Now I'm going to do the rotation one more time, but this time a little bit slower, so I'll have my blade flurry on, so I'll have 10% less regeneration, and I'll slow the video just a little bit. So you're starting your rotation with mark for that into roll the bones, and I got 2 buffs and one of them is true bearing, so you'll see how true bearing is actually good. It changes heavily your opener and your rotation, and you want to start off with your ambush, but you don't want to use the pistol shot because you're going to need every free pistol shot for your between the eyes, and just spam with your Dreadblade saber slash and run through. When you get between the eyes off cooldown, use it, and when you have pistol shot off cooldown, use it to fill your combos. And after the initial burst, then the situation settles a bit, but again you're already going to have your adrenaline rush off cooldown. You want to use it, and again prioritize on saber slashing because you have enough energy to spam it, and use between the eyes, and then after between the eyes use your pistol shot. Outlaw is a bit complicated at start just because all of the priorities and roll the bones, but it is really fun and it puts up a really good DPS. But the worst thing about this build is that you have to have bracers. Well, now let's head on to target DPSing and multiple target DPSing. and which is the same thing as one target DPSing, because you're just going to have your blade flurry constantly on. Now for 2 targets, again you want to mark for that before the pull, ambush at the beginning, and again pop the cooldowns as the same way you popped on 1 target. The priorities are still the same, and your goal again is to have 2 buffs constantly up, or at least true bearing. Now for multiple targets, Outlaw really pulls ahead on sub and assassination, and let's face it, Nighthold and even Emerald Nightmare and Trial of Valor are full of fights where the adds are priority, and Outlaw is really good at swapping, and especially Nightholds. Every fight will be a add heavy fight, maybe except Crosses, but that's another story. And Outlaw isn't going to have a lot of nerfs in 7.1.5, and that's another good aspect of Outlaw. So in conclusion, I believe that Outlaw is going to be a better spec for Nighthold at least, and that you should really focus on gearing your Outlaw and trying to get your legendary, because it's going to be too late when the Nighthold goes live. That's all I got for Outlaw Rogue. I'll try to make few videos in Emerald Nightmare with my Outlaw Rogue, but thanks for watching and take care until next video.